You know, sometimes I feel like I'm walking through a crowded marketplace, all the noise and colors pulling me this way and that. There's the insistent vendor with his shiny trinkets, the delicious smells of food tempting me to stop, the vibrant music drawing me to dance. It's all so captivating, so loud, and sometimes, in the middle of all that, I realize I've forgotten the purpose of my journey, the reason I even entered that bustling place. It's happened to you too, hasn't it? I remember a story a friend told me. He was preparing a big dinner for his family, a special occasion, and he was running around like a chicken with its head cut off. He had the oven going, the pots boiling, the table half set. The phone rang, and it was his elderly mother, calling just to say hello and see how he was doing. He answered, yes, of course, but he cut her short, telling her he was too busy. He'd call her back later. And then he went back to his whirlwind of activity, convinced he was doing something important, something that truly mattered. When the dinner was finally done and everyone was finally fed, he sat down, tired and a little empty. He realized then that he hadn't really been present, not with his family, and certainly not with his mother. He had been so focused on the doing that he'd forgotten the being. It reminds me of that scene in the gospel, doesn't it? Martha bustling about, preparing a grand meal for Jesus, while Mary sits at his feet, listening to his words. Martha, frustrated and probably a little resentful, complains to Jesus, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." And Jesus, with such tenderness, replies, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." It's not that Jesus is saying that cooking and serving are unimportant. No, not at all. He himself performed countless acts of service. What he is highlighting is the importance of prioritizing our relationship with him, of recognizing that amidst the busyness of life, there is a deeper, more profound calling, a need to be present to the source of all joy, all love, all meaning. It's about recognizing the one thing needed that St. Augustine spoke of, that intimate union with God, which gives all other things their proper place and value. Think of it this way. Imagine a beautiful painting full of vibrant colors and intricate details. It's a magnificent work of art. But what if you were to focus solely on the individual brushstrokes, the specific shades of paint, the minute details? You might admire the skill, but you'd lose sight of the overall masterpiece, the beauty and meaning that the artist intended. It's the same with our lives. If we get caught up in the endless cycle of tasks and desires, if we prioritize the fleeting over the eternal, we risk missing the true beauty, the true purpose, the true masterpiece that God is creating within us. It's not an easy thing, this prioritization. The world is constantly clamoring for our attention, isn't it? The demands of work, family, social life, hobbies, all tug at us from different directions. And it's so easy to get swept away, to convince ourselves that we'll focus on God later, when we have more time, when we've finished everything else. But that later often never arrives. The everything else is a bottomless pit, a constantly moving target. And sometimes we even disguise our distractions as necessities, as good works or responsibilities. We get so caught up in the outward performance that we forget the inner spirit, the love and devotion that should animate all our actions. we become like Martha, worried and upset about many things, forgetting the one thing that truly matters. This isn't about abandoning our responsibilities or becoming detached from the world. It's not about living in some kind of monastic solitude. It's about living in the world, but not being of the world. It's about recognizing that our primary identity is as children of God, and that all other roles and responsibilities flow from that fundamental truth. It's about orienting our whole lives towards Him, making Him the center, the guiding light, the source of our joy and strength. Think about the simple act of prayer. How often do we rush through our prayers, treating them as just another task to check off our list? How often do we allow our minds to wander, distracted by thoughts of what we need to do or what we need to buy? But prayer is not just about reciting words. It's about connecting with God, about opening our hearts to His love and grace. It's about setting aside the noise and distractions of the world and simply being present to Him. It's a moment when we can truly listen to His gentle voice, to receive the strength and guidance we need for our journey. And it's not just about prayer. Every aspect of our lives can become an act of love, an offering to God. The way we work, the way we interact with others, the way we approach our daily tasks, all of it can be done with love, with the intention of pleasing Him, with the desire to bring Him glory. It's about infusing the ordinary with the extraordinary, about discovering the sacred in the mundane. It's about finding that quiet place within ourselves, that inner sanctuary where God dwells, and returning to it constantly throughout the day. It's about making a conscious effort to be aware of His presence, to seek His guidance, to allow His love to permeate every aspect of our lives. It's about letting Him be the anchor of our souls, the compass that guides us through the storms and the sunshine. I think of the Blessed Virgin Mary, how she lived her life so completely attuned to God's will. She was no stranger to the demands of daily life, to the challenges and the joys of motherhood, to the struggles and the sorrows of her time. Yet through it all, she remained steadfast in her love for God, always seeking His will, always listening to His voice. She was, in every moment, completely present to Him. She pondered things in her heart, not as a passive observer, but as a loving daughter who longed to understand His ways. She didn't let the distractions of the world pull her away from her deep and abiding relationship with God. And that's what we're called to do, isn't it? To follow Mary's example, to make God the center of our lives, to prioritize our relationship with Him above all else, to choose the one thing that is needed, the one thing that truly matters, to allow Him to be the compass that guides our journey, the anchor that secures our souls, the light that illuminates our path. Let's ask our Blessed Mother to help us make that choice. Let's ask her to help us to be like her, to be always present to God, to seek His will in all things, and to allow His love to be the driving force behind everything we do. Let's ask her to teach us how to find that inner peace, that quiet place where we can connect with God and allow Him to transform us into the people He created us to be. Let us ask her to help us to truly understand the beautiful truth that in the end, only one thing is needed.